Hey folks, are you holding your chair for this one? Because we've got a lot of updates on things that just happened today, and you better be holding onto your chair today, especially since we got timing updates, not only on when this package is gonna get passed, but on checks and more. Let's get right into this. It is late on August 4th. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Let's get into this. All right, listen to this quote. This is from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and I encourage you hold your chair for this one. Quote, "We are pleased to report that although we still have a lot of open issues, I just want to be very clear, we're not at the point of being close to a deal, but we did try to agree to a set timeline that we're going to try to reach an overall agreement on, if we can get one, by the end of the week, so that legislation could be passed by next week." Dude, what the F? First of all, that sounds like an attorney wrote it to basically mean you literally said nothing on one hand, with all those asterisks you had in that quote, basically. But what the heck? Like, do you mean to tell me that Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, for the last 2 weeks of your negotiating and your really hard negotiating that happened on Saturday, and it was so exhausting, you know, you came in on a weekend to negotiate, and what Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has to report to us is, we just extended negotiations another week. I'm about to lose it. This is literally like the ref having a favorite baseball team, and all of a sudden he realizes it's in the 9th inning, bases are loaded, and his favorite team is about to lose. So he goes up in front of everybody, goes, hey, I actually miscounted, we're on the 8th inning. And everybody just freaks out. Like, come on, pitch the ball and finish the game. I just wanna be done. I wanna be done making these videos. I mean, I'm not, but I want to be. And tomorrow, I'm gonna do a live stream. We're gonna do a little bit of a giveaway, so we'll do a little bit of a stimulus giveaway because I'm so sick of this. Congress can't do it, so we'll have a little bit of a party tomorrow morning. Anyway, let's just take a moment here and look at the calendar and try to understand what things look like if things get passed by next week. And then let's get into some other updates that came out from the White House and Mitch McConnell, which are also quite interesting. I think Mitch McConnell is losing it, literally. You'll enjoy that. But let's look at the calendar first. This is a calendar of August. You didn't really need me to tell you that. Obviously, today is the 4th, and the expectation was that we're supposed to have something passed here on the 7th. That does no longer appear likely. Instead, now it appears much more likely that we're actually going to see some sort of deal, like a verbal deal, hopefully some kind of written deal by the 7th. Then they're going to take the 10th through the 14th to actually pass something. So maybe we'll see, one chamber vote on something, then we'll see another chamber vote on something, then we'll see some counter offers, and maybe by Friday the 14th, Donald Trump might be able to sign something. If this happens, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has stated he could get 50 million checks out within a week. Now, this is presumably through direct deposit. That's gonna be the fastest way to get these. You're gonna use those probably same 2018 tax returns if you haven't filed your 19 yet, or your 19 to see if you qualify. But here, we might be looking at as early as August 21st for some stimulus checks if we end up getting these stimulus checks approved in this next deal. The good news is, it does look like there is consensus right now around the $1,200 and $500. Though we're not sure right now if the HEROES Act is gonna be the one that pushes through, or it's gonna be the HEALS Act that pushes through. So maybe a beefed up HEALS Act, or a watered down HEROES Act, or some kind of version in between. We'll see. On unemployment, Mitch McConnell is falling apart. Listen to this. The New York Times reported that Mitch McConnell has, quote, signaled that he might be willing to reverse course and accept the extension of the $600 per week jobless aid payments that many in his party oppose if it would yield a compromise. This came after the lunch today. He even said it's not gonna produce a kumbaya moment like we had in March or April where everybody voted aye, but the American people, in the end, need help, McConnell said. McConnell went on to say, and whatever this thing settles between the president of the United States and his team who have to sign it into law, and the Democrats' not insignificant minority in the Senate and majority in the House, that was really wordy, I'm sorry, that's his quote, is something I'm prepared to support, even if I have problems with some parts of it. Holy smokes! This is the same Mitch McConnell who, like 6 weeks ago, was like, we're not passing anything unless it comes out of my office. We're not doing $600. We're not paying people more to stay home. Whoa, this is a massive, massive U-turn. So we just got a delayed time frame, but we did also at the same time get really good news that basically Mitch McConnell is throwing in the towel. Now, when he talks about this not so insignificant minority in the Senate, what he's actually trying to say is he has about 51 Republicans or 52 Republicans in the Senate who are all kind of trying to work together, but they're all on different pages. I mean, you have Republicans that are like, we're not doing anything. You have some Republicans that are like, 1 trillion is too much. Then you've got some that are like, 1 trillion is good. Then you've got some that are like, it should be more than 1 trillion. The Republican Party in the Senate, and this is not a diss on the Republican Party, it just is what it is appearing like a complete disaster right now. It's kind of, and sorry, I'm like making these references to the Vikings, but it makes sense. Think of it kind of like you got a shield wall of Vikings and one unified army of these Democrats fighting a larger army, but the larger army is all discombobulated. Like the coordinated smaller group can win sometimes in these cases, and I think that's actually what we're seeing here, which is kind of crazy. And this actually gives Democrats a crazy edge. Like it or not, again, I never want to pick sides. I try to be as neutral as possible. I know in the comments everybody's always guessing, oh, Kevin's that, Kevin's that. The point is, the people in power are the ones who get screwed when the people get screwed. That is, the leaders in power, they lose when the people get hurt. So if stimulus doesn't get passed, guess who gets the blame? It's Republicans, because they're in power. They control the Senate and they control the presidency. That means they're in power. So if a bill doesn't pass and a negotiation doesn't happen, they're the ones who technically get the blame. Democrats realize that, and they're basically laughing it up to the bank, going, give us what we want. Give us what we want. It's not our problem. Obviously, it is their problem, right? Because nobody wants the people to be hurt. But the Democrats are vying for more for the American people, and they're using this leverage to beat up Republicans. And here's the thing, it's working. It's working so well that Mitch McConnell is falling apart. It's working so well that even the White House is starting to back down. And I'm not kidding about that either. The White House is now backing down off the idea of signing to eliminate payroll taxes. Trump told reporters today at the White House that progress is being made and, quote, I may not have to sign an executive order because progress is being made. He further said, we want to take care of the eviction problem. People are being evicted unfairly. It's not their fault, it's China's fault. And then, of course, blame Democrats as well for trying to bail out blue states, but walked back the ideas that he would act without Democrats. So you're really starting to see Democrats like arm wrestling here actually working. Again, like it or not, we know that the Democrats want a bigger package. They want the HEROES Act. They're tired of dealing with small packages. They want a big package. Sorry, I had to do that. At the same time, the National Multifamily Housing Council said that in June, nearly 95.6% of renters made their rent payments, which was about as many renters who made their rent payments as last year. Which what's crazy about that is, wait a minute, we're in the midst of a pandemic. What do you mean tenants are about making the same payments as they were last year? It's because of all of the stimulus that was in effect. This is, again, another thing reiterating what Democrats want. In fact, just to sort of break down quickly where the negotiations stand right now, let's look at a very simplified flowchart. Here it is. We seem to have consensus on the $1,200 stimulus checks, which right now could potentially, even with the delay, happen as soon as August 21st. On top of that, it actually looks like we're getting more support now for the $600 per week unemployment extension. This is huge. In every real estate video that I've been making, I've been very, very concerned about this unemployment boost. But it's not just that. It's also, hey, yeah, there's the eviction thing, but Democrats are pushing for what's called housing and rental assistance, basically money. Because if you have an eviction ban, you're really just kicking the can down the road, right? This is being negotiated right now. This is another big demand that Democrats have with Republicans. They're all on board with an eviction ban, but Democrats are saying, hey, an eviction ban is one thing, but we actually got to help people out of the situation too. You can't just kick the can down the road for 6 months. And then obviously the big stopping point in these negotiations, and it continues to be this, are state and local government funding. There is a massive distaste by Republicans for essentially, as they put it, bailing out Democratic blue states. Furthermore, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says we're not doing anything close to $3.4 trillion. That's just ridiculous, he says. But given the Democrats exercising all the leverage as they are, what's it going to be, Stevie? 3.3? I'm really curious to see how this goes. This is actually now getting a little bit juicy because, again, no matter what side you're on, it's kind of like the underdog is starting to pull some punches here, and it's turning into a good fight. Like, as much as I'm pissed off that we're not actually seeing, like, give us the freaking bill already and pass it, will ya? Like, this is actually becoming very fascinating. But unfortunately, fascinating doesn't pay the bills, so I am still pissed that we don't have something passed. And again, I want to take a vacation. I want to rent an RV and just be gone for a month because I made enough videos, okay? In the meantime, Donald Trump did argue tonight with Lou Dobbs that Democrats are holding firm on money for state and local governments and lamented that no bailouts were coming, although we'll see if Donald Trump ends up having to fold on that as well because of the negotiation that I just described. It'll be very interesting to see. Anyway, on COVID, Donald Trump says he will not re-close down the economy, despite some people making suggestions that we should just close down again for 3 to 4 weeks to kill this virus. The governor of Mississippi, a Republican, is also now mandating masks in public and retail spaces. And this is happening statewide starting on Tuesday. Further, the Novavax vaccine is currently in a phase 1 trial and it's showing promising results. This adds to the many other vaccines that we already have in phase 2 and phase 3 trials. Remember, right now, we're not hoping for a vaccine sooner than the end of the year, and there are hopes that we could get one as soon as the end of the year, hopefully by the beginning of next year, but the World Health Organization is worried that even if we get a vaccine, we don't know how long that vaccine will actually be effective. Wow, a lot of news today. If you like this information, please consider subscribing, get your 2 free stocks with Webull, sign up for the YouTube course pre-sale in the link down below, and of course get your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.